Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 359. Andrew here. I did my taxes, which was a little scary because I got a job in the last year and making more money now. So I was like, oh man, new tax bracket. They're not gonna get the withholding right, and I'm gonna owe lots and lots of money. Well, if my math is to be believed. No, I didn't owe lots and lots of money. Um, um, I got a refund, which I was happy to see, and I share this not to brag, but because I thought it was funny. My federal refund is $3. My withholding ended up being 100.0 some percent. Or 100 point some percent. Wow, they managed to withhold like almost exactly the right. It's like, oh, went $3 over, and that's going to be direct deposited into my checking account. And then after I'd finished filing, I thought, you know what? I should have told them to cut me a check. That's right. Send me a check for $3. Yep, $3. And to be clear, I'm not complaining. Anytime I don't owe, I'm happy. I've never seen a refund. That's the smallest I've ever seen. So I thought that was pretty funny. $3. Lee says, I found a nice place where no one complains. It's a graveyard. So peaceful. Yeah. And then someone, the next headstone over, is like, why'd you have to die? I've got bills. You inconsiderate twerp. So, that's literally all that's happened this week. Tonight on the podcast, I would like to talk about Carano versus Disney. So the well-cultured among you are familiar with the Disney Plus show, The Mandalorian. It is the way. And there was a character on the first two seasons of The Mandalorian, Cara Dune, played by Gina Carano. And that character, while briefly referenced, did not make an appearance in season 3 of Mandalorian. Nor did that character appear in Mandalorian Season 2.5, which was Book of Boba Fett. There were, from what I understand, plans for a Rangers of the Republic TV show, which that character would have frontlined, but that appears to no longer be in the works. So, Gina Carano is suing Disney for firing her, and she's trying to get rehired, which is interesting. So she filed a legal complaint. I would assume she did not write it herself. I would assume her lawyers did not write it themselves. I would assume it was take your kid to work day at the office, and whichever lawyer drafted the legal complaint brought their 14-year-old into the office and said, hey, kiddo, why don't you try your hand at writing a legal complaint? Because I'm not kidding, this is what it reads like. Am I such a silly person that I spend part of my week reading a legal complaint that doesn't apply to me at all? Yeah. Lee says, I can buy a whole pizza. You can buy a whole pizza for $3? Is it a good pizza? All right. So, I have in front of me the Carano versus Disney complaint. And let's start with the introduction. I want to preface this. Let's do an experiment. Let's approach this complaint like we have no idea what The Mandalorian is. We have no idea who Gina Carano is. We have no idea what she said, what she did, what Disney said, what Disney did, what anyone on Twitter said or did. We are aliens that just went on a family vacation, landed on Earth, and decided to read a legal complaint for funsies. So we have no idea what the hell is going on. The only information we have is this legal document, which was filed with a court. Okay, so we're skipping past the complaint itself and going straight to the introduction. You know what? Hang on a second. Let me just put it in the chat so you can read along with me if you are so inclined. Introduction. A short time ago, in a galaxy not so far away, defendants made it clear that only one orthodoxy in thought, speech, or action was acceptable in their empire, and that those who dared to question or failed to fully comply would not be tolerated. This legal complaint, which was filed with a court, is parroting the Star Wars opening crawl. You think I'm joking? You think no one would be immature enough to do this? No. Nope. Hey, look, it says Death Star in the legal complaint. It references Alderaan. And so it was with Carano. After 2 highly acclaimed seasons on The Mandalorian as Rebel Ranger Cara Dune, Carano was terminated from her role as swiftly as her character's peaceful home planet of Alderaan had been destroyed by the Death Star in an earlier Star Wars film. From like 45 years ago. Pretty classy comparing losing your job to an entire planet full of people being vaporized. Yeah, that's classy. And all this because she dared voice her own opinions on social media platforms and elsewhere, and stood up to the online bully mob who demanded her compliance with their extreme progressive ideology. So, maybe they were stoned, says Chicago. Maybe. I mean, this whole thing, again, reads like a 14-year-old, right? I get real, very proud teenager vibes off of this whole thing. I bet whoever wrote this is really proud and said something like, yeah, pwned them. Lee says, if that's her complaint, she doesn't have a leg to stand on. Oh, she very much does not. So let's go over this opening paragraph because it's kind of funny. Defendants made it clear that only one orthodoxy in thought, speech, or action was acceptable in their empire, and those who dared to question or failed to fully comply would not be tolerated. Orthodoxy? Now, again, we're approaching this as someone who has no idea what the hell is going on, right? That first sentence, orthodoxy, that's a word that almost always is referring to, like, religious doctrine. I mean, it not exclusively, not necessarily, but that's a very specific word, orthodoxy. And it makes me think, wait a minute, the defendants made it clear that only one orthodoxy in thought, speech, or action was acceptable in their empire, and those who dared to question would not be tolerated. Wait a minute, who are the defendants? Let me just scroll up. Is she suing a church? No, it's the Walt Disney Company, Lucasfilm, and Huckleberry Industries. Okay, Huckleberry Industries, I think, is one of the studios that Disney owns. I believe it's currently working on the Skeleton Crew, Star Wars Skeleton Crew, if I'm not mistaken. So, Gee, I wonder what thoughts and speeches and actions are unacceptable to Disney and Lucasfilm and Huckleberry. Let's keep reading and find out. Defendants' wrath over their employees' social media posts also differed depending on sex. Even though the force is female, and that is in quotes, by the way. Even though the force is female, defendants chose to target a woman while looking the other way when it came to men. Oh, okay. So we've got gender discrimination going on. Allegedly, potentially, maybe. So whatever actions Carano took, or whatever words she said, her male counterparts were doing and saying the same things, but only she was on the receiving end of the defendant's wrath. Well, that if that's true, that would be a no-no. So we'll have to keep that in mind. This whole the force is female thing, that's kind of a weird thing, because as far as I could tell, I did some Googling. I didn't see anything where that didn't seem to be a Disney slogan campaign thing. I mean, it may have at some point, I don't know, but where I found the phrase "the force is female" is from social media users throwing it back at misogynistic twerp whistles who were angry that females existed in Star Wars. You know, so angry misogynistic putz monkeys would be like, I hate all the women's in the Star Wars. And other people would say, dude, force is female. Choke on it. I haven't seen any... So it's kind of, again, weird thing to have in a legal brief. Legal complaint. Lee says, we wouldn't know what a church is either unless we had it on our planet. Fair enough. We're very fluid. We are aliens that just broke my water bottle here. We studied up on Earth culture and the English language specifically. While Carano was fired, defendants took no action against male actors who took equally or more vigorous and controversial positions on social media. Oh. I look forward to learning what those positions are. But the rule of law still reigns over the defendant's empire. Okay. And Carano has returned to demand that they be held accountable for their bullying, discriminatory, and retaliatory actions that inflicted not only substantial emotional harm, but millions of dollars in lost income. Okay, so that's the intro. We're going to skip past jurisdiction and venue, nature of the case, who the parties are, blah, 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 blah. Okay. The first bit here, we're on page 5, is the factual allegations. And the first factual allegation is a few paragraphs talking about how Gina Carano's career is pretty good. This section is called Carano's acting career takes off. It says she was a successful mixed martial artist fighter person, and then she got cast in Haywire, and then she was in a Fast and the Furious movie, and Deadpool, and a couple other things, and in 2008, which was before a lot of this stuff, she was the fastest rising search on Google and third most searched person on Yahoo, while being ranked number 5 in Yahoo's top 10 influential women of 2008 list. Cool. She got an award. She got another award. She got another award. She was a presenter at the Saturn Awards in 2019. And then she was employed by Disney in 2018 for the role of Cara Dune on the Disney Plus series The Mandalorian. She was prominently featured in marketing and promoting. The character instantly became one of the most recognized and popular characters in the series. One of... Sure. I thought she was cool. Let's see. Her agreement listed her as a guest actor at the minimum salary of $25,000 per episode. She fulfilled all obligations under the terms of her agreement, and so on and so forth. Because of her contributions to the success of the first season, her agent sought an increase in pay. The defendants, Disney, refused, offering her a one-time bonus of $5,000 and again $25,000 per episode. I think there were like 8 episodes in each season. Cara Dune wasn't in all of them. She was in, I don't know, 3 or 4 of them maybe. Still, you know, $100,000 or so for one season of a television show. It's pretty nice. Carano was again instrumental in the success of season 2. Indeed, someone from Lucasfilm called her and congratulated her. Oh, and we've got a quote here. Just wanted you to know that people loved the episode today as we knew they would. Congrats. Cool. Jon Favreau, one of the executive producers, told her that her life is about to change because Disney had approved a new Star Wars spin-off, Rangers of the New Republic, that would feature Carano's Cara Dune as one of the lead characters. Kathleen Kennedy, Lucasfilm president, confirmed the production of that show, and Carano would have been a series regular. And she would have, the standard agreement for series regular would have been comparable to what other actors receive for other Star Wars spin-offs. Contract for 6 years at a base compensation beginning at $150,000 to $250,000 per episode. Holy shit. If I could just step away from this for a moment. You know what? Instead of game studios and movie studios firing a ton of people at the end of each year, maybe don't pay anyone that much money for a single episode. No one's worth that much. Just stop doing that. No one needs to be paid $250,000 for a single episode of television. That seems silly to me, but whatever. Lee says she needs to hire Legal Eagle to help her. Maybe she might do better. Breaking out of this for a second, I talked to someone on Twitter about this, and she's not planning on winning. This is unwinnable. But we'll see more of this, but this is not going to win at all. It can't. Literally cannot win. My guess. So why is she bothering? Because she has no case here at all. Basically, this entire thing amounts to, I lost my job, and I don't like it. Yeah, that sucks. But she doesn't show any. There's nothing in here that would indicate wrongful termination. Most of this is 60 pages, something like that. Yeah, it's 60 pages. Most of this thing is complaining about people being mean to her online. But she's not suing them, so that wouldn't matter that much. Worth noting, perhaps, if you're making a case for emotional compensation, but she seems to have a problem with. Mostly, this is just, I don't like people correcting me, or I give my opinions, but I don't like it when other people do the same. Oh, sorry. So she's not going to win. So what is she doing? This is going to lose, and then she's going to, that's just going to be grievance fodder that she'll shop around to various podcasts and YouTube shows. Yeah. So. All right. So next section. Defendants terminate Carano because of her speech. Okay. I'm really interested, as an alien who just landed on Earth with very good English, if I must say. I'm very interested to know what the hell she said that Disney fired her for. I'm looking forward to the quotes. All of this came to an end on February 10th, 2021, when defendants announced through the media that Carano had been terminated from her role as Cara Dune and would not be hired for any other projects with defendants, all because she expressed her political opinions on social media. Ooh, I wonder what political opinions those were. Surely it was, something, mild, like, you know what, I think, Healthcare should be available to everyone who needs it, regardless of who they are or where they live or how much money they make. If your appendix explodes, doesn't matter how much money is in your bank account, you should be able to get your appendix stitched back together. That's a political opinion. Maybe that's the political opinion she offered online and Disney fired her over. That would be kind of crap. Let's read on. Lee says, when first saw the title of this episode, I thought it was an actual 14-year-old, but what I'm hearing about her getting upset about others, I think you're right. In announcing Carano's termination, Lucasfilm made the following public statement. All right, getting a quote here. Quote, Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there are no plans for her to be in the future. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. End quote. So, it's interesting. So what political opinion did you express that Lucasfilm is calling denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities? Did you use a slur by any chance? I mean, you haven't said, this doesn't say what you said, and you haven't said what you said. Also, I'm starting to wonder, were you actually fired? Or did Disney just decide not to work with you anymore? Spoiler alert, there is nothing, she may have been fired, but there is nothing in this legal complaint that actually shows she was terminated. What it looks like is she was hired to play Cara Dune in Season 1 of The Mandalorian. She did that. She was rehired to play Cara Dune again in Mandalorian Season 2. She did that. She did. She's in Season 2. She was not fired in the middle of filming, in the middle of production. Production completed. They didn't hire her for Book of Boba Fett or Mandalorian Season 3, and they decided not to go forward with Rangers of the Republic. I have found, again, I only did a cursory Google search, but I've found nothing indicating that she was actually terminated, that she was fired, that she was let go. So far as I can tell, she just wasn't rehired. So what it's kind of sounding like is you said crappy things online. Disney didn't like that because it makes them look bad. Like, if you were, I don't know, the janitor or a grip or some production person who works behind the scenes and not a visible person that you yourself in this complaint point out were front and center in the marketing and the press tours, then it might not have mattered that much. Because let's remember, Disney as a corporation doesn't give a damn. It really doesn't. It's not like you said a slur or you said something mean about certain religions or cultures. It doesn't care. It only cares if it makes it look bad and affects its bottom line. So, but let's read on. Defendant's statement characterizing Carano's social media post as denigrating people based on their religious and cultural identities was false. Oh, okay, well, look forward to when you eventually quote what you actually said. It was also made with knowledge of its falsity, with the purpose of harming Carano, and to distract from defendants' illegal termination and treatment of Carano. Defendants targeted, harassed, publicly humiliated, defamed, and went to great lengths to destroy Carano's career. All because she made political statements that did not align with what they believed was an acceptable viewpoint. Wow, boy, you're burying the lead here. I'm really curious to know what it is that you said. Targeted, harassed, publicly humiliated, defamed, and went to great lengths to destroy career. So far as I can tell, this statement, Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilms, and there are no further plans for her to be in the future. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their culture and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. That's one of the only official statements I can see from Disney or Lucasfilm talking about Carano at all. So, be interesting to see what the hell she's talking about. Disney's then CEO, Bob Chapek, has been quoted as saying Carano was fired because she didn't align with company values. That was another one of them. In doing so, Chapek said these company values are values that are universal. Values of respect, decency, and integrity, and inclusion. Okay. Disney has this in the bag, says Lee. And I think all she is doing is humiliating herself. Yeah, this is embarrassing for anyone who's not a child. Like, you and I reading this, like, we're squirming in our chairs because it's like, oh my god, someone actually wrote this and then filed it with the court. Oh my god, who? I like looked up the lawyers. There's two lawyers on here. I've never heard of them. Didn't see them attached to anything else I'd ever heard of. They're just seem to be two lawyer dudes. It's like, I don't know what it's like. That's embarrassing though. I guess they're from what I've heard, Elon Musk is paying for this. So I guess the lawyers are like, well, shit, we're getting paid. And Carano's like, I mean, this isn't going to win, but, you know, I can do the podcast and YouTube show rounds based on this. Oh, they were so unfair. They immediately threw it out of court. They just wouldn't listen. They did, you know, just did do all that shit. Chapek's statement that Carano does not stand for values of respect, decency, integrity, and inclusion is false. His statement was also made knowing it's false with intent to harm, blah, 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 blah. Defendants also discriminated against Carano by treating her differently from her male co-stars who also made public political statements on social media. The same political statements, Carano, or different political statements? Because it's clear that it's not making political statements, it's making specific political statements. So your male counterparts, did they say the same thing and face no repercussions? Because if that's true, that's garbage. And that kind of crap happens all the time. So, I guess we'll keep reading. Elon isn't a smart cookie. Yes, he is not a smart cookie. He's actually an idiot and also just a genuinely horrible human being. Unfortunately, one with a lot of clout, money, and power. Shame there aren't decent people in those positions. It seems to be a problem. Defendants harassed Carano for her political same thing. Defendant, didn't do anything about the males. Defendants retaliated against Carano when she objected to the harassment and efforts to force her to adopt positions against her conscience. What positions are those, Gina? I look forward to finding out. In addition to terminating her, defendants refused to hire her for roles already promised. Promised? Like, did you have a contract, Carano? Because if you didn't, then doesn't matter. Stuff changes. Like, the Rangers of the New Republic was a show that was probably in pre-production at some point. And there were probably a lot of people looking forward to working on it. Were they all fired? No. They're just not doing the show. Let's see. Defendants refused to hire her for roles already promised, including Season 3 of The Mandalorian, Rangers of the New Republic, and planned future Star Wars full-length feature films. Maybe, who knows? Defendants' actions were calculated, malicious, and knowingly in violation of California law that protects employees such as Carano from discrimination because of her employees' political views and her sex, parentheses, female. Alright, next section. Carano exercises her right to express her thoughts on issues of the day, only to be harassed because she did not espouse a progressive orthodoxy. Here she is with orthodoxy again. A progressive orthodoxy. odd that you'd call it an orthodoxy, but you're starting to wave some red flags here, kiddo. X, formerly known as Twitter, of course, because no one's going to call it that. All right, so she describes what Twitter is, and Instagram. All right. While incivility directed towards her started much earlier, over the summer of 2020, Carano, so the incivility you experienced online was before Disney took the actions that aggrieved you? That's an interesting thing to put in the legal complaint. Over the summer 2020, Carano was constantly harassed and bullied on social media to support various causes, adopt various ideologies, and hold herself out in certain ways in her social media profiles. When she declined, Carano was called all sorts of names, including that she was a racist for not publicly adopting the Black Lives Matter moniker, and a, quote, transphobic bitch for not including pronouns in her profile's biography section. Okay, that sucks. So I look for, I'm sure you'll have some examples of you being called racist and a, quote, transphobic bitch. Spoiler, nope. I'm sure someone somewhere did call her a transphobic bitch. I'm just kind of surprised that she does cite like 20 different examples from, Twitter posts and stuff, but that quote is not among the examples she uses. Kind of weird. In fact, of the 20 examples she uses, not a single one of them actually uses a bad word. We'll get there, but it's like, you're a woman on the internet. I would be shocked if you didn't get death threats every day. Why aren't they in here? Why as examples did you use the tamest, most milquetoast shit you could find? What are you doing? Also, what does this have to do with Disney or Lucasfilm? Were you being harassed by at Disney Plus or at Disney or at Lucasfilm? What are you doing? When she declined to adopt various ideologies and stuff, Carano, we read that. Social media users demanded that she publicly support the Black Lives Matter movement, including adopting their slogans as noted in the following examples. Okay, here we go. Examples. At Gina Carano, say ACAB, please. All cops are bastards is what that means, in case you were wondering. Gina Carano, say ACAB. At Gina Carano. Oh, hey, we got some more. Hey, here we go. At Gina Carano, okay. You're a racist if you completely ignore the Black Lives Matter movement and don't support it. Being silent puts you on the side of racists and oppressors. Now, this one is at least implying that she's a racist, right? She's made it clear that she at least doesn't want to say Black Lives Matter or use any related slogans. And so this person is proposing that if you don't do that, you're racist. So this is as close as any example here actually gets to calling her a racist. However, I would be very interested in seeing what's earlier in this conversation, because this is a response to something, right? This could be like an answer to a question that somebody asked. Like, it could be this other person here. So context is important, and it's kind of impossible unless we go Googling this exact thing. Someone else posted it. Gina, if you're not racist, then show us. Support and donate to Black Lives Matter. Use your platform and voice to stand up against the police who are committing crimes against the people they're meant to protect. If 12-year-olds on Twitter can do this, you can too. Okay, probably annoying to get messages like this if you don't wanna, but, I mean, again, 3 likes, 20 likes, 15 likes, 1 like. I mean, the examples you're showing didn't seem to be like that bad. I mean, it just sounds like people are talking to you and you don't like what they're saying. Here's another person. At Gina, these aren't trolls. These are people trying to educate you so you can get on the right side of history. That's weird, says Lee. This has nothing to do with Disney. How can she use that? Well, I think that this section that we're reading right here, this is like almost half of the entire complaint. It's just complaining about what people were saying to her online. My guess is this is padding the emotional distress, because she's seeking like emotional damage type things. But I mean, you'll notice that all of the 5 or 6 examples she gave, oh hey, this one here actually has 115 likes, so, and 13 retweets. So this one actually got some traction. None of these called you a transphobic bitch. Who said that? So, So, Carano responds, in my experience, and this is actually a, so she's responding to people online. Who knows if she's, now, Channel Kenobi, so probably responding to this person here, but, August 4th, 449, well, no. I don't know, kind of hard because of time zones. Carano responded, seems like this might be a response to this, but this was 2 hours earlier, but maybe there was a time zone thing, so who knows? But anyway, she says, in my experience, screaming at someone that they are a racist, which she's given no example of anyone actually doing, when they are indeed not a racist, and any post and or research you do will show you those exact facts. Then I'm sorry, these people are not educators, they are cowards and bullies. I still have no doubt that Carano was harassed. Woman on the internet. That happens. I am shocked that she's not giving good examples of that. So Carano goes on to explain she has no hate for anyone. She shares a post where she said, "My heart is filled with so much warmth from all of you. Just when you think the darkness starts closing in, all of you lit a candle to light my way. It really is incredible, the people standing with each other, heart to heart. Believe there is hope." And then someone responded, "Imagine being racist." Which honestly doesn't even make any sense. I don't know what this... Because she's not talking about imagining stuff. So that was a weird response. While defendants did nothing to support Carano, fortunately, one of her castmates did have the courage to stand up for her. We still, at this point, have no idea what she said, other than she wasn't interested in saying all cops are bastards, or Black Lives Matter. Okay. So, we'll look at this next one here. Right side of history is not a good phrase. Depends, I guess. So, I'm now more motivated than ever to spend the time I have on Earth attracting my team from all different parts of the world. My energy does go to people who are focused on truth, love, equality, and freedom. Do not be afraid. Whee! I do like this little sign. It had to be said, and it's just crayon scribbles. Standing with my castmate, Gina Carano. You'd love to know and work with this human. She's a beautiful example of humility and kindness to everyone. So, whoever Chris Bartlett is, that was nice. Other users expressed their support, noting the extensive and unfair abuse Carano had to endure, even though she hasn't seen fit to share any of it with us in this complaint. Tugs, whoever that is, says, "We stand with you." So there is this bit here. where Data Racer, whoever that, whoops, I didn't get the button there. Data Racer, whoever that is, said Gina Carano. Was there a date on this? No, can't tell when this was. Is being bullied and harassed by SJW trolls. Well, there's a red flag. They're calling her a racist bootlicker. Maybe they did, but we haven't seen that. And demanding she say all cops are bastards, BLM, to prove she's not racist. I mean, at least 2 people did. Or rather, at least asked her to say that. There was only one who implied that you're racist if you don't do that. Gina's having none of it, calling them cowards for trying to bully her off social media, which, this is too small. I can't actually read any of this shit, so I have no idea what that actually says. I tried blowing it up, but it's too fuzzy. I can't read it. Oh well. Maybe that's all the stuff. Who knows? The online abuse worsened when she encouraged standing up to bullies by sharing an article with a famous historical photo of someone standing up to fascism. So here we have a picture of people seemingly given a Nazi salute and one guy not. Except she doesn't actually give any examples of anyone online abusing her over this. It goes straight to, she was also attacked. Oh, okay, I guess we're just not giving any examples. For questioning lockdowns. Open up your businesses and churches. Put whatever regulations you want to because it's your right, but open them up. And so she's... Yeah, that's... The world is open, but no one is allowed to work. Defendants made it known that they did not agree with or approve of Carano's political views on COVID lockdowns and vaccine mandates. Okay. Another source of constant harassment was the demands that she put pronouns in her profile. On social media, a user can create... Yeah, she explains what profiles are. One news report noted that the harassment became worse when Carano allegedly liked a post, not identified, that some claimed was not supportive of the transgender community. Quote, late last week, Carano liked a tweet on Twitter that allegedly mocked users who practice this method of self-identification. However, as of writing, the tweet has been unliked and has yet to be specifically identified. So, no idea what we're talking about here. Some social media users denigrated Carano for simply not putting pronouns in her profile. Here's some examples of that denigration. 50% of Hollywood wears masks and respect the trans community. Too bad you're not included in that. Is that the best example you had? I have to assume these are the best examples you have. Like, this is the worst of the worst, right? I mean, surely that's what you'd use. The next day, another person criticized her for not listing pronouns. Hey, do you just not go by pronouns? It's hard to tell. Keeping in mind that both of these are adding Gina's, so these are part of a reply, so I don't know what these were replying to or if the context would change anything about these statements. The unhinged criticism for Carano's refusal to state pronouns continued. Gina, so I'm going to read this unhinged criticism. Gina, just so you know, pronouns are a part of most languages, and putting them in your bio is just a decent thing to do. Even your own coworker Pedro has put pronouns in his bio out of decency. So you liking tweets that mocks that just sits wrong with many people. My God. Unhinged. So, we're only 20 pages in, and Carano's lawyer's 14-year-old who wrote this is not doing her any favors, makes her look like a whiny asshole. Or maybe just really bad at providing examples. On or about September 12th, having had enough of the abuse that had been going on for some time, except we haven't been shown any, Carano put 3 simple words in her Twitter profile, a reference to the sounds a droid makes. Boop, bop, beep. She left this up for a short time, then deleting it. And she put it in the standard /e format that most people would put pronouns. So, like he/him. So she put boop/bop/beep. Well, that's a shitty thing to do, Gina. Come on. Don't be an asshole. In doing so, Carano also provided an explanation for her previous response on the use of pronouns. So she did that, then she took them out, and then she talked to a cast member, and then she posted, "Yes, Pedro and I spoke, and he helped me understand why people were putting them in their bios. I didn't know before, but I do now. I won't be putting them in my bio, but good for all of you who choose to. I stand against bullying, especially the most vulnerable, and freedom to choose." Huh. Well, that's... Mouse. Why is... My mouse is stuck. There we go. That's kind of interesting, because in the middle of her complaint, she seems to have just admitted that, oh, I get what you were all trying to say. Okay, I understand now. I'm still not comfortable putting pronouns in my own bio, but I respect everyone else who does. Loved everybody. And it's like, okay, cool. The response was swift, with many praising her for standing up to bullies. Is this what she did? What? And others accusing her of mocking transgender individuals, which she did. Yet those attacking her would not accept that she had been bullied at all, which, I mean, people telling you that you're wrong about something is not in and of itself bullying. So, they just wanted her compliance. Then there were others who could not understand the controversy, as the following post demonstrates. At Gina, not being coy, what is the woke world mad at you about? Red flag. I'm looking at your tweets. Are they mad you called 2 women in a UCF fight ladies? Fill a brother in. And Gina explains. They're mad because I won't put pronouns in my bio to show my support for trans lives. After months of harassing me in every way, I decided to put 3 very controversial words in my bio, beep, bop, boop. I'm not against trans lives at all. They need to find less abusive representation. So, as an alien from another world coming in to read this, at this point I'm thinking, Carano just seems like kind of a dipshit. I mean, maybe not I don't even think at this point, knowing nothing else, that she's a bigot. She's just a dumbass who doesn't like being corrected. And, I mean, who does? But, let's go on. Carano remained consistent and respectful in explaining why she would not bow to bullies on the internet. Someone says, can you see how some would read that as... I would assume this is referring to the beep bop boop thing. Someone says, can you see how some would read that as mocking? I don't think trans people would like all of you trying to force a woman to put something in her bio through harassment and name-calling, which she's provided absolutely zero evidence of, every day for months, such as racist. Saw one person say, if you do this, then you're racist. Transphobe. Nope. Bitch. Nope. Weirdo. Nope. Hope you die. Nope. I hope you lose your career. Nope. You're fat, you're ugly. Nope. I'm surprised. I would be surprised if you didn't... Again, I would be shocked, as a woman on the internet, that you didn't get a bunch of this crap. Why isn't it in your legal complaint if this is the angle you're going for, though? Lee says, sounds to me like that person was giving her advice. And yeah, to be clear, if a ton of people that you don't know are soliciting advice that you didn't ask for, if you're getting dogpiled with that, that can be extraordinarily stressful. that could come across as harassment. Like, if you tell someone, like, look, you're in the wrong here, here's what happened, and they tell you to piss off, and you don't piss off, and you keep hounding them about it, that is harassment. There are degrees depending on exactly what we're talking about, but, like, I mean, if you're trying to convince someone to stop, I don't know, punting a kitten down the street, then it's like, stop punting the kitten. Leave me, punting kittens is bad. Go away. Well, I guess I'm going to have to leave that one there. No. Wouldn't want to harass her by asking her to stop punting a kitten, right? So, context is important. Whoever wrote this did not get the memo, seemingly. And yet again, she explained, I know trans people wouldn't condone this harassment when they hear about the children with the I is not capitalized. Dude! Women, I mean, was she, like, holding down the shift key while typing children and just accidentally let it up while she hit I don't know. Women and men who have contacted me thanking me for taking a stand against these bullies because it affected their mental health to the point of near suicide at the time. Yeah, that's happening. Not going to show any of that, but, As if the explanations were not enough, Carano made yet another attempt. Zero to do with mocking trans people, la-di-da-di-da. You can take hate with a smile, so boop you all for misunderstanding. Carano explains to defendants at the time. So, okay, we're talking about Disney now. Beep, bop, and booping is simply droid noises. Identifying with the Star Wars, yeah, we get it. She thought it'd simply be a playful way to diffuse all the harassment she'd received on social media. I don't believe you. I think you were being a jerk. And a fun way of expressing independence and freedom to do whatever you want to do with your social media accounts. I mean, you can. You don't have to put pronouns in your bio. You don't have to. And respond to the trolls and bots and nothing more. All right. Indeed, many transgender people came to Carano's support. I stand with Gina, says some person on the internet, coming from a trans person and hearing everything that was going on. None of you respected consent at all. Harassing an individual to do something and then get mad when they make a harmless joke about it, it's fucking childish. Gina, you're amazing. So it seems like there's kind of a mix on the internet here. Also transgender, you be you, beautiful, the mob will go find someone else soon, you're still my hero. So, we've found that some people on the internet disagree with Gina, and some people on the internet agree with Gina. Okay, very, very productive. Alright, so now we're on page 26, nearly halfway through, and we're getting to the defendants. This next one is defendants engage in harassment of their own. Alright, let's see what Disney did to harass Gina. However, like her online abusers, which were unevidenced, defendants were not satisfied. Or like her online abusers, defendants were not satisfied. They subjected to Carano to long phone calls demanding an explanation and criticizing her for not embracing what some see as mandatory solidarity with a vocal element of the transgender activist community. Okay. Even when she expressed that defendants' demands were excessive, and asked for some time away from the constant meetings, defendants refused, demanding that she continue with her re-education program. I'd like some details on this. What excessive demands was Disney making? I'd really love to know. Defendants even required Carano to meet with representatives of GLAAD, a national organization that promotes LGBTQ+ acceptance, something she willingly did. Carano had a very positive discussion with two of their representatives during a 90-minute Zoom call, even reviewing several documentaries they asked her to watch. Upon information and belief, the representatives of GLAAD with whom she spoke provided positive feedback to defendants from their discussion. All right. Even so, defendants continued to demand a public apology, finding the above social media statements insufficient. Defendants went so far as to try to convince Carano's publicist to force Carano to issue a statement admitting to mocking or insulting an entire group of people, which Carano had never done. You did. It's like, and what's funny is she did, and then she stopped doing it. She took the beep boop bop thing out of her profile. She had a conversation with Pedro Pascal, and then admitted, "Oh, okay, I get it now. I'm not comfortable putting pronouns in my own bio, but I respect everyone else who does. Love to everybody." That should have been where it ended. That should have been the end of it. After she refused to issue the statement defendants demanded, I wonder what that statement was. Or is there something else like that we're not being told here? Like, is this the whole thing? Is that literally the whole thing? Like, she wasn't interested in saying Black Lives Matter or ACAB. She wasn't interested in putting pronouns in her bio. So she went beep boop bope, that's an asshole thing to do, but whatever. Then she went, "Oh, okay, I get it. Love to you. I'm not doing it, but love to you all." And she also has some shit views on pandemic safety measures, and as we'll see later, voting stuff. I suspect that there's probably more here than is being discussed. After she refused to issue statement the defendants demanded, they rejected her proposed alternate statement. Defendants increased their harassment of Carano. I would genuinely love to know what statement what Disney wanted Carano to say that she didn't want to say, and I'm also really curious to know what she says. Okay, I don't want to say that, but how about this? What if I say this? And Disney went, "No." I'm dying to know what this is. But we're all going to end up with legal blue balls because she will never tell us. We'll just have to decide. So, Disney, a family-friendly company, what it sounds like is like, Miss Carano, you're saying some stuff that offends a lot of the people who buy our stuff. Please stop doing that. Because we like working with you. You're a great character on the show. This is all speculation now. But it doesn't do our business any good if you piss off a significant portion of the people who buy our stuff. So please stop doing it. Just issue a little apology, and we're good. Just stop doing that. Those are the conditions of working for Disney. If you don't do that, you see, I don't really get the sense that Disney as a corporation really gives a shit whether anyone is transphobic or not. It's a corporation. They're interested in money. Now, I have no doubt that individual people who work for Disney are bothered by the red flag she's waving all over the place and are trying to, steer her right, so to speak. But all right, let's keep going. As a sign of good faith, Carano went to donate to a GoFundMe page allegedly set up in support of the transgender community. Allegedly? What? Was it or was it not? When she opened the link, she read that the fund was supposedly created by a Lucasfilm creative and was directly targeting Carano, defaming her by accusing her of being a bigoted actress. Accordingly, Carano did not donate. What? So, as a sign of good faith, you what? You searched GoFundMe for some random pro-transgender GoFundMe and just happened upon one that was created by a Lucasfilm employee who called you a bigoted actress? Do you do you have a link or the name of the GoFundMe, or is it in a footnote? Oh, or the name of the oh, no. No, you don't. Huh. That would have been really interesting to see. Shame that isn't in here. Carano brought this to Lucasfilm's attention, who denied the GoFundMe account and was established by any Lucasfilm employee. Shortly thereafter, the account was changed to call Carano ignorant, and the identity of the organizer was changed to no longer identify a Lucasfilm employee. To Carano's knowledge, no employee was disciplined for their public harassment of Carano. Defendants nonetheless continued to communicated to Carano's publicist that they were going to require Carano to participate in a Zoom call with Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy and 45 employees who identify as part of the LGBTQ+ community, going so far as to say that her willingness to endure such harassment and humiliation was a litmus test for her. Well, that's not in quotes. So her claim is that Kathleen Kennedy said that her willingness to sit on a Zoom call with 45 employees who are LGBTQ+, apparently Kathleen Kennedy said, if you're willing to endure this harassment and humiliation, that's your litmus test for, I guess, further. I don't believe you. Is it impossible? No, I suppose not, but you know what? I don't believe you. The publicist was encouraged to explain that the group was a friendly group that want Gina to succeed, even though several had contributed to the anti-Carano GoFundMe account, including filmmaker Leslie Headland, who was scheduled to produce a Star Wars production. The purpose was clear. Carano had to grow and learn, and defendants wanted to know where her mindset is currently with regard to the controversy over pronouns. Until then, they were not going to allow her to speak to the media or include her in any promotions. Which, yeah. Of course they're not, Carano. Of course they're not. Because they can't trust you not to make them look bad in front of the people who buy their stuff. That's how this works. Carano declined to be subjected to a Zoom meeting with 45 other people, but did offer to take 5 or 6 to dinner so they could talk face to face. Defendants refused the offer. Which, of course, they did. Because this was either fall of 2020 or winter of 2021, the height of the fucking pandemic! That's why they were doing this on Zoom, you dumbass! There's a pandemic! It's why all the damn productions were shut down at the time. To help people not get sick. It's like, hey, we're going to do a big Zoom meeting with lots of people. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that, but how about we meet face to face for dinner? No! You see, this is what we're talking about. You're not getting it. Given defendants' ongoing harassment, Carano let defendants know that perhaps she needed to get legal counsel to help resolve the issue. Thereafter, defendants changed course and decided to require Carano to take media training. Which honestly seems like a pretty decent idea. Accordingly, by September 25th, 2020, defendants' harassment of Carano was in full swing with the launch of Season 2 of The Mandalorian right around the corner. So, it's 8 o'clock. We're only halfway through. So let's skim. The next section talks about more online bullying, which has nothing to do with Disney or Lucasfilm. She said dumb shit about election fraud, and people criticized her. Here's an example. Here's an interesting one. So, the social media backlash from those who do not share Carano's political perspective was swift and matched with incivility, responding to her earlier posts One started with name calling. Oh, you sad, pathetic idiot. Oh, well, okay. Sad, pathetic, and idiot. There's a name calling, except, was he talking to you? Because this doesn't say at Gina Carano. I don't know if this was aimed at you. You're not mentioned, and it's not at you. So was this really what was this really aimed at you? I don't know. This is like the worst thing we've seen so far, and your name's not on it. So this one is close, right? Live view from the Mandalorian writer's room. This says, well, we're just going to have to kill her. Okay, that's probably talking about Carano. I'll grant you that one, sure. Just say you don't like it when black people vote and go. When a Republican talks about voter fraud, they're just mad too many people of color are voting. Again, this was months later, and it doesn't February, because we were talking about stuff on November 5th, but this is the following February. And again, your name is not on here, so why is this here? Is this person talking about you? I don't know. So she goes on and on. It says at no point did defendants defend Carano. From what? Defendants strike again. Even with Carano's star rising, defendants continued to harbor animosity against her and her political beliefs. January 8, 21, she was inadvertently sent an email by Lynn Hale of Lucasfilm explaining that defendants were consumed with some on social media calling for Gina to fire Carano. They monitored a hashtag, meaning a string of related posts calling on Gina to hashtag fire Gina Carano. No idea if that's true. We don't get a copy of the email or what was in the email, so Alright, so let's skim through here. On January 12th, 2021, Carano posted an interview she gave where she was asked about the controversy surrounding her social media posts, an interview that clearly demonstrates she was not seeking to denigrate anyone, but chose to speak up because there was a large group of people that were being silenced. What? Who the fuck were you speaking on behalf of? What are you talking about? And that conversations were not happening, and because of her belief that discussion is good. She was not seeking a political platform, but believed that discussing issues makes everyone better. She also understands that simply speaking up made her a punching bag. Oh. Who'd you score an interview with, Carano? Oh. The Federalist? Well, I'll just put that red flag over with the others, shall I? Holy shit! If you don't know who the Federalist is, it's a, right-wing news blog that traffics in very dangerous disinformation and also some horrendous bigotry. That's who she had an interview with. Oh my god. All of this occurred while Lucasfilm was publicly supporting, quote, Christiana Ariel and her declaration that all white people are racist. I don't know who the hell that is, but this is weird. Because, who is Christiana Ariel and what does she have to do with any of this? I guess it's kind of a like, well, look, Lucasfilm is supporting this person who says all white people are racist, so why aren't they supporting me? Alright. What's interesting is that all white people are racist is not in quotes. The quote is Christiana Ariel and her declaration that all white people are racist. So this is quoting someone else asserting that Christiana Ariel declared that all white people are racist. And I don't know if she did or not, or if she did, what context she said that in. But this is just really weird. This to be clear, this one is actually linked. So, but oh dear, oh dear, oh no, from bounding into comics, oh no. There's another red flag. Just throw that fucker on the pile. Oh man. See, sometimes it's worth. Sometimes legal briefs and legal complaints and stuff are actually worth reading, because God. Indeed, defendants even publicly claim that. Let's see. So. Yeah, moving on, let's see. On February 10th, 2021, Carano made the following post in light of the trending fire Gina Carano to highlight the injustice of the mob seeking to destroy someone simply because of their political beliefs. I mean, it kind of depends on exactly what the political belief is, right? I mean, if, I'm not saying it's yours, Carano, but like, say, a person had a political belief that was LGBTQ plus people should be eradicated. That's a political belief. But I wouldn't say that people standing up to that person, or even, dare I say, try to stop them from accomplishing their political belief, would be unjust. Right? So it kind of depends on exactly what the political belief is, right? Big difference between, you know what would be great if everyone had access to healthcare regardless of their socioeconomic standing. Big difference between that and, you know what? Everyone who's not white should be shot into the sun. Right? Both political beliefs, but I think we could agree that there's an important difference between the two, right? At least I hope. So here is something from Carano. Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children. Because history is edited, and this is a quote, but I don't know who said that. But anyway, you can see Carano's name here. Most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first had to make their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? I don't know who said this, but this is a person who, for some reason, genuinely is asking, I hope, actually I don't know if I hope it's in good faith or not, but they're asking, what is the difference between hating someone for their political views, which could be any number of things, and hating someone for being Jewish? What's the difference between hating someone for what they do and hating someone for who they are? Wow, that's it. And Carano looked at that and went, yes, this is definitely something I should repost. Just gonna get this red flag and throw that. I'm gonna have to start a new pile of red flags. Holy shit. Carano made no mention of a political party or a particular point of view and compared no one or a group of people to Jewish people during the Holocaust. I read that completely. And compared no one or group of people to the Jewish people during the Holocaust. Rather, she noted the danger that arises when one point of view is singled out for harassment. Jesus Christ. 90 years ago, the Jews were not singled out for a point of view that they harbored. They were singled out Again, not for a specific point of view, but because they were Jewish, you fucking dipshit! God damn it! What is wrong with you? Hi, Lindy. A belief is not an action. That is correct. A belief is not an action. So, not sure when that comment was made, but yeah, you can believe all kinds of things. You can believe good things, you can believe bad things. I'd prefer you didn't believe bad things. You, hypothetical person, not anyone specific. But if you believe a bad thing, like, if you believe some, I don't know, racist nonsense, like, this particular ethnic group is intellectually inferior to those who look like me, well, that's shitty. You know, that's a shitty belief you have. But as long as you're not acting on that belief, like, as long as you're not trying to harm people or make life hard for other people based on that belief, then, as Jared rightfully points out, that's not an action, it's just a belief. A shitty one, sure, but as long as you're not using that belief to hurt people, well, you're just an asshole then. Okay. But, yeah. Lindy says, I've been here since the beginning of your podcast, but was too dumbfounded to all of this. Yeah. Oh, we've got some more pages to go, because this just never gets better. Nevertheless, the apoplectic response, that's a great word, I like apoplectic, response from some on social media has been well documented, just not in this complaint. And shows a gross overreaction and intentional smear campaign against Carano. Indeed, one analysis of social media events of February 2021 concludes, quote, Carano's contested post can be fairly critiqued as heavy-handed. Sure. Still, evidence has not come forth that Carano in any way emitted an iota of hate or vitriol that was projected onto her by the persecution mob. Who said this? Jeremy Lee Quinn. No idea who the hell that is. I'm sure a wonderful, upstanding person, though. Indeed, the Auschwitz Museum even notes that the persecution of Jewish people... Why do you keep bringing this up? Stop comparing yourself to the Jews in the Holocaust, you fucking asshole! Jesus Christ! Okay, all we've gotten so far is you said some dumb shit, people called you out on it, and even though you didn't show any examples of it, I'm sure that a bunch of people were really, really unpleasant to you and said some really horrible, toxic, disgusting, terrible shit that no one should ever be on the receiving end of. I have no doubt that you actually were harassed and that you actually got death threats and all kinds of stuff. I'm genuinely shocked that you didn't share any of it, but I believe you. But that does not compare with the Holocaust, you dipshit. God damn it. People were mean to me on Twitter. This must have been what it was like for the Jews. You understand why I think this was written by a 14-year-old? God damn! Because when you're a kid, when bad, unpleasant stuff happens to you, it's the worst thing in the world. Because when you're particularly young, particularly if you grow up sheltered, you have a limited frame of reference, right? So when bad things befall you and you're young and immature, that's the worst thing in the world. And you'd be like, oh man, people being mean to me on the internet, and I don't mean to downplay the horror that can be people just dogpiling you and harassing you and attacking you on the internet. That's absolutely a thing. But, like, That's not your Holocaust. That's not your Vietnam. Don't do that. That's not a good comparison. I mean, if you're a 14-year-old snot-nosed kid, I'll cut you some slack because you're 14 and you're stupid and you don't know anything. But god damn it, this was ostensibly written by two lawyers who look to be like in their 50s, maybe, if because I looked them up on the California Bar Association website, and they have pictures if I got the right guys. Well, I mean, this is stuff that Carano said online, and they're just using it on the. So yeah, Carano did say this. Look, Carano. Oh, god damn it. Let's say that the internet treated you unfairly. I wasn't following any of this shit. You haven't documented it very well in this legal complaint, but let's say that you were wronged. Even then, don't compare that to the Holocaust. Don't do that. Lee says, can we get smarter people like we did before all this started? Jared says, her whole point is based on the point that one should not be hated or such because of any difference, either belief or ethnicity. Based on point was should not be hated or such because of any differences, either belief or... Well, ethnicity, no. Belief, depends on the belief. If you've got a hateful, harmful belief, then, I mean, there are some beliefs that earn hatred. But, I mean, if we're talking about, like, what you thought of the Star Wars show, then, yeah. If you liked Star Wars, if you don't like Star Wars, that's not deserving of hatred or harassment or abuse. If you hate queer people and are trying to strip them of their rights, then that is worthy of hatred, because you're a scumbag. So it depends, right? The context is important. There are a lot of cases where that's just my opinion, man. Yeah, absolutely, and that's fine. But there are, I think we would all agree, I hope we would all agree, some opinions that are very deserving of hatred. So, anyway. Lindy, I'm supposed to be celebrating my Lunar New Year. Oh. But instead you're self-torturing here, yeah. Lee says, does it make your brain hurt like mine? Lindy says, I think my brain refused to function properly after all that. Lee says, if Disney had something to laugh at, this would be... Alright, so, let's get past the goddamn Auschwitz. Goddamn. Oh, man. Yeah. My mom made me do my homework. Now I know how the slaves felt in the antebellum South. Solidarity is so unfair. It's like, don't do that. Have some perspective. You're like 40 years old. You should know this. Hate is not the right word. Should not hate people ever. Fair. Are you more of a hate the actions, not the... I don't know. Yeah, I'm not a very hateful person. I'm a very angry person. But... yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. I'd have to think on that. You know, there are sadly evil people in the world who try to hurt others. You know, and you know, I don't have a problem with anyone who's like, I still don't feel that hatred is justified. I mean, definitely stop them from causing harm, but let's try not to hate people. You know, I can probably get behind that. Lee said, now if everything she said is right and she is getting picked on what's wrong, but she doesn't have a case. Liddy says, I disagree. I'm petty, so I hate a lot. I have, as most of you know, I have like severe anger issues, like rage issues. So I try, for me, I just try not to hate, because that would just be very unhealthy for me. Possibly other people too. But all right, so now we get into the section. Earlier in this document, she talked about how her male co-stars got away with doing the exact same thing. So now she is saying, even Carano's male co-star, the late Carl Weathers, posted the exact same message. It's like, man, you know, this is kind of bad timing, because Carl Weathers literally just died. So if you have some other examples, man, it seems kind of bad taste, but, you know. Late Carl Weathers posted the exact same message, but no action was taken against him. Nor was Weathers accused by defendants of denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identity. Oh, shit. What'd he say? I am still not clear what you said. The whole thing seemed to started because you wouldn't say certain things, which I can only imagine people started pestering you about because of something you said in the first place, which we're at this point not privy to. So I don't know what it is that you actually said where people are like, all right, let's do a litmus test here. Can you say ACAB or Black Lives Matter or put pronouns in your profile or any of that? You know, because I'm getting... There's a big pile we're starting a second pile of red flags here, Carano. So let's see what, so Carl Weathers said exactly the same thing, so let's see exactly what that is. Who gets to decide what is appropriate for me or my child to read? You do, Carl. The Nazis knew how to both control and to eradicate. Interesting playbook to emulate. What's next? Who's next? Okay. This would seem to need some context to know exactly what he's talking about, but I'm guessing he's talking about the extraordinary raft of book bans hitting high school libraries across the country. I would assume that's what he's talking about. You know, right-wing dipshits trying to remove books written by authors of color or queer authors. That's happening all over the gosh darn place. So that's likely what he's talking about. Because this was May 2023, so this was last May. That was the exact same message? So you posted that exact message 3 years earlier? And no action was taken against him. What action do you think should be taken against him? Carano? What are you talking about? Carl also, Weathers also reposted something from Barbara Hershey? I don't know. So it's a picture of something that said it didn't start with gas chambers, it started with one party controlling the media, one party controlling the message, one party deciding what is truth, one party censoring speech and silencing opposition, one party dividing citizens into us and them and calling on their supporters to harass them. It started when good people turn a blind eye and let it happen. Yeah. Oh, okay. And? So? What's your point? Defendants' disparate treatment of Weathers further demonstrates their discrimination against Carano on the basis of her sex and or political beliefs. So Carano seems to be coming at this, or her lawyers anyway, from you can't, a private organization that hires people can't police their public-facing representatives for what they say. I don't know what she's going for. Look, not all opinions, not all political beliefs are the same. Some of them are shit, and some of them are bad, and some of them will lose the company money, especially if you're very public-facing, like a high-profile actor who's on a press tour. So, you know, if just throwing out examples. But if one actor is saying, Nazis are bad, Disney or whatever is probably going to go, oh, that's fine. I think we can all get behind that. In fact, the only people who can't get behind Nazis are bad are Nazis. And fuck them. And then you have another actor who says, Nazis are good. And then Disney goes, oh, let's sweep that actor under the carpet. We don't need them out front saying that to the press. Yeah, that's not a good look. And then that actor goes, well, that other person espoused their belief and you didn't do anything. Well, yeah. Because they're two completely different beliefs. One harms us, one doesn't. So I think you can figure this out, Carano. It's not too hard. All right. Let's see. This is getting kind of samey. Let's see if she goes anywhere new. She was inundated as a result of defendant's statement, which is not quoted anywhere. Carano was inundated with stalkers and media hounding her at home. It became so bad that she justifiably feared for her personal safety. That's terrible. In addition to being terminated from her role on The Mandalorian, defendants canceled production of Rangers of the New Republic, refusing to hire her even though she'd been told the role was hers. Refusing to hire her for a production that had been canceled? Yeah. What this is sounding like, Carano, is you said some shitty things, and now people don't want to work with you. That sucks. Hell, that can actually work different ways. Like, imagine you worked at The Federalist, you know, the place you interviewed with, and you started saying, Black Lives Matter and trans rights now and ACAB. They'd probably fire you. Alright, let's, moving on to a new section. Defendant's post-termination smear campaign. By way of example, if the post-termination smear campaign prior to her termination in November 2020, Carano filmed an episode of Running Wild with Bear Gillis. Okay. Following her termination, Disney surreptitiously removed the episode of Running Wild that showcased Carano from the show's scheduled lineup, all in an effort to malign Carano and deny viewers the ability to see who she really is. I mean, that's... I'd take that personally, because it is personal, but again, what this sounds like is they're embarrassed of you and your opinions and don't want to be associated with you. Now, it may be true that your contract specifies that they can't do that. You may have a case there. Depends on what your contract says. After protests from fans and intervention from Bear Gillis, Disney did show the episode. However, even though Disney ultimately aired the episode with Carano, they removed all mention of her name or likeness in any promotional material or even listings of the episode. Yeah, it seems like they just don't want to be associated with you, which they're under no obligation. I mean, unless there's something specific in a contract somewhere, which you have not and do not mention, they're under no obligation to work with you, Carano. No one is. You know, you can say, hey, imagine if you go out on a date and it's going well. And then you say, hey, we should go out again next Friday. And then the person goes on a transphobic screed. And you say, oh, well, now I don't want to go out with you. But you said we were going out next Friday. It's like, yeah, I did. But now that I know you're a transphobic bigot, I don't want to. That stuff happens. The aftermath of defendants' actions. Based on defendants' termination of Carano and their public statements regarding her, Carano's agent, United Artists, and her entertainment attorney dropped her as a client. Huh. That I didn't know. Neither provided her any explanation. That sucks, if that's true. Discovery may reveal that this occurred at the express or implicit direction of defendants. Now, that is an interesting claim. What this is saying is, if this goes to trial and they do go through the discovery process, they may uncover communications or emails or something that show that Disney or Lucasfilm called or emailed or otherwise contacted her agent and her entertainment attorney and told them or cajoled them somehow to drop her. That seems unlikely to me, but interesting theory. Maybe. I mean, again, I don't find it very likely, because why would Disney give a shit? I mean, they don't want to work with you, so they stopped working with you. I don't think they give a shit that you still work somewhere else. I don't know why they would, but, you know, maybe. The numerous opportunities Carano had because of her role in The Mandalorian, including invitations to read for new movies, invitations to attend high-profile events, and even opportunities to promote her work, immediately stopped after defendants' public statements regarding her. Again, the only statements I've seen from the defendants are the ones she's provided, which are, we're no longer working with her. She said some horrific stuff. So, so she goes on to say that Giancarlo Esposito said he liked Gina Carano at some point. Okay. Glad you made friends. Bill Burr also likes her. Said she was an absolute sweetheart. Super nice ellipsis person. Kind of curious what's in that ellipsis. Even Forbes found defendants' justification for Carano's termination baffling and unjustified, noting that 72% of people surveyed disapproved of Carano's termination when they saw the actual post that apparently prompted defendants' decision, because her post noted the dangers of targeting people for their beliefs. All right. So we surveyed a bunch of people, and it said, this might be the post that got her filed, the singular thing. Do you think that's fair? Yeah, I imagine most people would say that one individual thing, if indeed that is the thing. Yeah, probably not. But it doesn't appear that it was one singular thing, does it? Social media posts from Carano's co-stars. So she goes on talking about things that other people said that were totally okay. Like, here's Pedro Pascal saying conservatives used gossip columns and headlines to manipulate city politics in the 40s, and it worked. Let's be better than them. Oh, okay. And on August 16th, 2017, several years earlier, Pascal made the following post comparing President Donald Trump to Hitler. Well, no, that's comparing Donald Trump to Nazis. That's the Nazi symbol, not the Hitler symbol. It's pretty close, but you know. But I mean, if the shoe fits. But I mean, yeah, you're allowed to say, I think this president is like Hitler, or that president is like Hitler, or I think my mom is like Hitler. You're allowed to say things like that. That's your opinion, man. However, if you said something like Bob Chapek or Kathleen Kennedy are like Hitler, and you work for Disney, you're probably not going to be working for Disney much longer. I mean, you're welcome to say that, but you're probably going to face some consequences for what you say. To be honest, the guy running Florida isn't smart. Oh, DeSantis? Yeah. He's not a smart man, but he's like so many, he's just in a position of power and a place where he can do a lot of harm. And that sucks. Disney could also have broken state law, but I don't know Florida law in terms of employers' right to fire. Oh, yeah, they may have, but nothing in here really alleges that they've broken some contract or that they've fired. Like, I'm not even getting a sense that she was actually fired, just that Disney's no longer going to hire her for anything. Like, they didn't fire her in the middle of the production of Mandalorian Season 2. They just didn't. They just canceled the production of an upcoming show and aren't hiring her for any other things. So I don't even know that Gina Carano was fired. She says she was fired, but I've seen no evidence that she is fired. I'm not saying she wasn't, but I've seen no evidence that she was, and what she's describing sounds like they just don't want to work with her anymore. So as soon as Mandalorian Season 2 was over, they just said, we're not going to work with you anymore. That's a completely different thing. That's perfectly legal. But it does depend on contracts and specifics, so we'll see. Pascal also posted this. This is America. Here's Germany in 1944, bunch of people in confinement. Here's America in 2018, bunch of people in confinement. Specifically, people who shouldn't be in confinement. Why would anyone have a problem with that? Carano. Oh, here's another one that Pascal apparently put on. I guess Pascal's punk is here. The Confederates, the people who turned traitor against the country because they really, really wanted to do a slavery, lost in 1865. Well, that's true. The Nazis lost in 1945. You know, the people who were trying to eradicate Jews and eradicated a bunch of them. Yeah, they lost too. And Donald Trump lost in 2020. That did happen. So, what's the point? Defendants Disney did not comment on, let alone condemn Pascal's social media comments. Why would they, is the thing. Pascal also posted Bert and Ernie waving a trans flag and saying Black Lives Matter and defund the police. Again. So? He was not disciplined or required to review documentaries. Yeah, why would he be? And they didn't refer to them as abhorrent. Yeah, 'cause they're not. Silly goose. I mean, I'd certainly cock an eyebrow at Disney if they said, now, Pedro Pascal's assertion that trans lives matter, that's abhorrent. What? Or trans lives matter, black lives matter. Oh, black trans lives matter. That's what it says. Sorry. So black trans lives matter. Yeah, that's not an abhorrent statement. What would be abhorrent would be stating that saying Black trans lives matter is abhorrent. That would be abhorrent. Wow, Carano. Here's Mark Hamill. What do you see? Well, I see a bunch of people, I think they're pointing. I think I see index fingers. It's kind of hard to see. Mark Hamill says, I do not see a thing. It's pretty similar to Nazi salutes, but doesn't look exactly right, but okay. I would assume this is probably a Donald Trump rally, but fine. Let's see. She goes, this is nothing new for Mark Hamill, who in 2016 described Donald Trump as Vladimir Putin's puppet and the KKK's candidate. I mean, he is. David Duke endorsed him. Sorry! Mark Hamill has gone so far as to compare President Trump to the Third Reich without a word of protest from defendants. I mean, the guy is sincerely bigoted. I mean, he wants to build a wall to keep brown people out of the country, and any of them that come in, put them in prisons. And he wanted to ban all Muslims. So there's some accurate comparisons you can draw there. Stop being an asshole. Defendants did not comment on, let alone publicly condemn Hamill's social media comments. Again, nor should they. Unless they're really tone deaf. When Hamill was accused, unlike Carano, this is great. When Hamill was accused of liking a transphobic tweet, his explanation was accepted by defendants without question. Oh, well, I suppose that would depend on what his explanation was. Maybe we... Oh, you put it in here. Great. Drugs was the main reason? Drugs was the main reason for what? What, the border wall? Oh, that's bullshit. Most of the people, most of the drugs is not coming in from people illegally crossing, so that was a lie. Also, it's not what he said. So anyway, let's see. Where are we? Oh, I didn't. Here we are. So Rowling, the horrible transphobe, dress however you please. Call yourself whatever you like. Sleep with any consenting adult who will have you. Live your best life in peace and security, but force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real? I stand with Maya. This is not a drill. Now, you may not know what this is talking about. And apparently Mark didn't. He read this. So what he says is, so he liked this, even though this is horrifically transphobic. So Mark said, ignorance is no excuse, but I liked the tweet without understanding what the last liner hashtags meant. It was the first 4 lines I liked, and I didn't realize it had any transphobic connotation. Okay. No action was taken against Hamill. On the contrary, he was allowed an appearance in the closing episode of the 2nd season of The Mandalorian. Yeah. He made a boo-boo. And he apologized for it. He says, yep, that's transphobic. I didn't realize, and I'm sorry. I've deleted whatever. Yeah, we make mistakes. It happens. What he didn't do is double down and call everyone who corrected him a harassing person who was calling him... You know, he didn't do what you did, Carano. So, of course they didn't. Yeah, he made a boo-boo. He liked a transphobic message. And he apologized. And he apologized well. That's really all you had to do, whatever it is you did in the first place, which honestly we still don't know. Let's see. They even rehired Guardians of the Galaxy director James Gunn, a male, after terminating him for social media posts. Which, here's the difference, Carano. The social media posts that he was fired for were made like 10 years prior. He hasn't made any sense, and he's repeatedly apologized for them. You see, you can do dumb, shitty things. Some. I mean, there are limits. It's like, you murdered a few people, but you stopped and you apologized. So, no, James Gunn made some really crap posts a decade ago at the time. He grew up, he stopped doing that, and he apologized for it. Same thing with Mark Hamill here. He made a mistake, and he owned up to it, and he corrected it. That's really all anyone asks. And then we get into claims for relief. Is there anything else interesting here? So, let's see. Claim wrongful discharge. It's a bunch of legalese. It's not really interesting. Wrongful discharge and refusal to hire. Um, Sex discrimination. Let's see. We want compensatory damages exceeding 75,000. Compensatory damages for loss of future employment for Rangers of the New Republic and others. Emotional distress damages, punitive damages, attorney's fees and costs, and any other relief the court deems necessary. And respectfully submitted. Trial by jury demand, respectfully submitted. It's kind of a shame they didn't. Not sure what they would have done, because like they opened it with parroting the opening crawl. Like I'm surprised it didn't end with some Star Warsy thing. But anyway, so that is Carano versus Disney, which I have no doubt that she was harassed, and she shouldn't have been, because harassment is uncool. I'm genuinely surprised she didn't show any of it in the document. But what this really comes off as is, what it sounds like is she's a dumb asshole who does not like being corrected and reacts very immaturely to people trying to convince her that she's wrong about her position on various topics. And you know what she reminds me of? She reminds me of Candace Owens. Back in the Gamergate days, Candace Owens came up with a... Oh god, this was long ago. I wrote about it in Game Politics, which is why I remember it, but the details... it was some sort of like... database of internet harassers, which came across as a genuinely good faith attempt to help protect people who were the subject of some horrendous abuse, particularly at the time. Now, a bunch of the most high-profile harassed and harangued and swatted and abused people at the time contacted her and pointed out some significant problems with her idea. And she went full fucking right-wing immediately, and we have the Candace Owens we have today. That's what Gina Carano reminds me of, because she immediately went to interview with the Federalist. She did a movie with the Daily Wire. So, yeah. Some people, we all take criticism differently. Some people are great at it, some people not so great at it, but good gravy. Some people, it's like, you don't like the way I did a thing? Well, fine. I'm going to completely switch political ideologies and be against everything. The groups of people. It's like, wow. Dude, you just said something crap. Your idea has merit. It's just there are significant problems here. But wow, yeah. Some people just not open to criticism. That's what this comes across as to me. Particularly because most of this legal complaint, which ostensibly is suing Disney and Lucasfilm, half of it is complaining about people being mean on Twitter. And all of her examples are some of the lamest, most milquetoast things that don't exemplify any of the stuff that she said happened. So, yeah, this comes across as we got free money from Elon Musk, so there's no reason not to do it. It's going to lose, but then we can, go back to the Federalist and other right-wing podcasts and outlets and stuff like that and complain about it for several months and make money that way. And it's a shame, because I actually thought Carano's performance and her character on The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2 was a lot of fun. And I was actually looking forward to seeing more of that character in Rangers of the Republic. That's a bummer. Uh, it's also, to me, just kind of stunning that, like, all she had to do was, like, just not be an asshole, you know? Look at Mark Hamill. He did a transphobic thing and he apologized, and everything's fine. Now, yeah, there is sexism in the industry. Of course, there is. Maybe they would have asked more of Carano, a woman, than they would have asked a male counterpart for the same faux pas, and that sucks. But wow, I mean, you were in a Star Wars show, Carano. You were going to headline your own Star Wars show, and you flushed it down the toilet. And it wasn't a matter of you tripping over a rock and landing on the lever that flushes the toilet. This was you loudly announcing you're going to flush this opportunity down the toilet, and Disney and Lucasfilm and your coworkers, particularly Pedro Pascal, and a bunch of people online spent months desperately trying to reach you to convince you not to do that. You said that in your complaint, that they kept coming at you saying, look, here, try talking to these people, try talking to these people, try watching these documentaries, talk to Pedro Pascal. Something's got to get through to you. They apparently, according to you, tried to work with you on this for like 3 damn months, and you would just have none of it. You were gonna headline a Star Wars show. Now, maybe there's something happened behind the scenes that I'm not privy to, and for some reason you just did not put in your complaint. Maybe. I don't know. But I've read some legal complaints in my time, and that was a very bad one. You did a bad job. It's a bad complaint, and you should feel bad. Well, you didn't write it, but whoever wrote it should feel bad, and you should be embarrassed that your name's on it, because it's really bad. Oh well. Hey, Lyrically C, haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. Hello all. What did I miss? Is about a court. Well, there's no court case yet. It's just a legal complaint that was filed with a court, and it's really bad. Are they suing Disney? Yeah, Disney, Lucasfilm, and the Huckleberry something, the studio that did Mandalorian, I think. Is the camera out of focus? It looks okay to me. I mean, I can shut it off and turn it back on. I mean, we're about done with the video, but let's see. Is that any better? Lyrically, I think she got a movie showing on the Daily Wire. Yeah, she did. I forget what it's called. I know it had at least a limited theatrical release, and apparently it bombed something horribly. But yeah, she did a movie with the Daily Wire, which, man, I wouldn't do a movie with the Daily Wire. I've got standards. But what I found kind of funny was I looked up the film on Rotten Tomatoes. I was like, well, what was the critical reaction to it? And it had like a 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like, huh, most people leaned positive. Interesting. Would not have expected that. So not many people saw it, but those who saw it tended to lean overwhelmingly lean positive. Cool. And then I cast my gaze down about an inch and said it was 86% from 6 reviews. 6 reviews. 6. And like, the verified critics with Rotten Tomatoes are like a dime a dozen. You go to any wide release film and you look at the critics, and you will not have heard of most of them. like 90. I'm like, who the hell are these bitches? People with random blogs. And there were like 6 people. And one of them was, oh, it's the guy's name. He's a real asshole. Just an absolutely toxic piece of shit. I think he works for Film Thread or something. I forget his name. His last name is like NG or something like that. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Guy's garbage. Not surprising he liked it. So 6 critics watched it, 86%. It also had like 83% audience score, over 1,000 reviews. So it looks like they AstroTurfed their own movie, which they do all the fucking time. It's really funny. So yeah. All right, well, that's it for tonight. Join me tomorrow for we're going back to Trails to Azure. It's going to be a shorter stream tomorrow. There's a reason for that. All will become clear tomorrow, though. So, hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all had a good laugh at a very silly legal complaint. And I do want to be clear that harassing people, even assholes, don't harass people. Definitely protect other people from assholes who seek to hurt them, but you know, don't abuse people yourself. So, yes, I have spoken. All right, this is the way, and other Star Warsy things. All right, that's it. Hope you're all having fun. Gosh darn, I need dinner. So take care. Hope to see you tomorrow for the Sunday stream. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.